All right, ladies and gentlemen, right, right, guys, listen. Hello, who is this? Who is this? Sit up, sit up, sit up, sit up. No, it's on the air now. Please sit up. Okay, guys, let's talk briefly. Yeah. No, no, no. They play games like yeah. All right, listen. Listen. Guys, let's do something nice. Like when you see yourself in the video, you see that you're playing game. That's it's too far. No, but I'm talking is reflecting it. Right. Okay, guys, listen. This the question that because people of your testimony. What do you do that? Okay. Right. We've gone through the first question. It was multicolor. Now let's see how we can discuss this question. Right. They said describe the following terms. Inclusion. What is inclusion? Right. Right. What is inclusion? Inclusion means those things that are going to be incorporated in the project. Incorporated. That are going to be included. I don't want to use included again because of the narrow inclusion. What are going to be incorporated or some part of included? What are going to form part of the project is what we refer to as inclusion. Right. Let me say it again. The things that are going to be incorporated in the project is what we refer to as inclusion. Right? For example, the deliverables. The deliverables, the tasks that needs to be done, the product of the project, and all those things. Right? So those things needs to be specified in where? In the project scope or in the project charter. Does it make sense to you? Right? Now, let me digress a little bit to ask you what is an exclusion. This one is inclusion. Then what is it about? What about exclusion? Exclusion, those things that are not going to be incorporated in the project. When you are writing a project scope, you need to make it devoid of ambiguity. What am I saying by ambiguity? It must be clear, crystal clear. Right? You tell them these are the exclusions, these are the inclusions. You make things to be much more clear. Right? While you are writing your project scope. Then what about this quantification? Quantification means to express something in numbers, in quantity, in units. To express, right, something in number. It could be occurrence being expressed in numbers. When you are quantifying something, we know anywhere you use that term quantification means in unit, in quantity, right? In numbers. Does it make sense to you? Yes. For example, if somebody asks me, can you quantify the number of students that were in the class today, specifically project management level? Or not project management level, project management level 4, right? That means that person is asking me to give the numbers, right? I can always listen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all those kind of stuff. That is quantification. Right. Then constraints. What do you mean by constraints? Constraints are kind of barriers. 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 In fact, Follow your pronunciation. Barriers, impediments, impediments, pitfalls, pitfalls, or simply challenges. Do you understand what I mean? Right? If somebody asks you, what are the constraints that you are envisaging in the project? Or what type of constraints do you envisage in the project? In other words, they are asking you, right, to report or to talk about the challenges that you have envisaged that could jeopardize the realization of the project, if you like. Pinpoint the challenges, the benefits, right, in the project. Remember, I told you about the constraints in the project. For example, time is always limited. The triangular constraints or limitations in the project. Time is a factor, is a constraint. Capital is a constraint. Resources, budget, right? It's always a constraint. And quality, right? In terms of the scope, right? Then, here, work breakdown structure. When you look at this concept, right? How many three? You got three concepts here. How many concepts combined together? Work, breakdown, structure, right? You know what we mean by structure. When is someone is talking about a structure, that means got a kind of a framework, right? A framework, which could be hierarchical. What do we mean by hierarchical in hierarchy, right? Then when we talk about this way, breakdown, that means something has been broken down or something that there's something that has been decomposed into smaller parts, right? The process by which the unit is wholesomely broken down into different parts, right? Then there's where, huh? Yeah, we may call it element if you like, or task in this case specifically, right? Because we're talking about tasks now. I'm not saying you are not correct, but to contextualize it, we can use the term task. Are you with me? God, focus. Then work, something that needs to be. So work breakdown structure, it means a hierarchical framework, right? Which contains in a hierarchical form work that needs to be done in the project, right? From the main task to subtask to work packages, right? So how do you derive? How will you be able to derive your work breakdown structure from your project? What it is you take the project holistically as it is. Then you first of all start by breaking it down into main tasks, right? From main tasks you have some tasks with sub, wherever. Do you understand what I'm saying? You've done this several times, right? Yes. Okay, you can do that, right? Okay. Now, time management. What can you make out of time management? Time management. Time management.
Start.
Yeah. Time management.
Start early start.
Okay. Yeah, you're not far from the truth, right? What you say is correct. So, when we say time management, yeah, you're not far from the truth, you're close to the truth. You see, which is a good sign, right? If it's an assessment, if other people are getting the 0 over 5 or whatever, then you could tell yourself perhaps 3 over 4, which is 60%. Right? Okay. So it's something that you can do well. Now, time management. This very crucial. Time management is very important as far as project is concerned. We all do know in life generally that time is limited. Right? Time is limited. Even when you look at the lifespan of the human being life cycle, you consider time to be limited. Some people say time goes so quick, that is true, right? So every bit of time that you got, you need to judiciously optimize the usage of time. Right. There's an English language or English saying that says time and tide wait for nobody. I repeat, time and tide wait for nobody. Maybe you don't know what I mean by tide. Tide is being spelled like this. Tide. It doesn't wait for nobody. What is tide? Did you see the waves
Yes,
in the
sir.
sea? Tidal waves. It doesn't wait. Does it wait for anybody? It doesn't wait. It's like a moving train. It's long, right? Time is like that. So the difference between a successful human being and an unsuccessful human being depends on how you make use of your time. Right? What set apart a failure from a successful person, right? Depends on how you make use of your time. You are sitting here now, utilizing your time judiciously for you to learn for your future, right? Whereas those people are outside, they are not like, you know. So it's like that. In project management, is still the same thing. Remember, a project out of the time which is very crucial. You don't play with it. If you have the commission as a project manager in the project, and you've been given a certain time frame to complete your job, and if it is not done, you are liable to pay penalty in some cases, right? So you need to know how to use time, right? How to optimize the usage of your time by making sure that you plan very well, right? Planning is one of ways in which you can be able to service the use of time. And plan very well. Have a nice day, you know. So that is what we are talking about. Here, you see the marker location. 2 months, right? 2 months each, sorry to say. Then you add up or you multiply by 5, then it gives you 10 months. Right. Then look at question 3. It's very interesting. You got a case study. I'm going to read it. Right. Read the article below and answer the questions that follows. Carlton online project at schools. 4 shots on it. You see, there's a problem here now. 4 shots, right? Then I continue. It has been more than 8 years and 3 billion rand has been spent. But the aim of having working computer laboratories at every public school in Gauteng has yet to be achieved. Right? Sounds like a project where money is being wasted without achieving the objectives of it. A thorough internal audit by the Gauteng Department of Finance, which leaked to independent newspapers, has found that Gauteng online is not functioning economically, efficiently, or effectively. Gauteng online aims to place a computer laboratory in every school in the province and give every PU an email address. You know what we mean by PU? Have you ever seen this word before?
Yes, sir.
It means
The
learners.
learners.
Yeah. Okay. First launched in 2002 with 1 billion rand tender, the project failed dismally. What do we mean by dismally? Woefully. Woefully. Right? Disgracefully. Right? In 2006, 7, the Carter Shared Service Center and the Department of Education issued a new tender worth 2 billion rand over 5 years to get the project going. Right, from 1 billion is going to 2 billion. What kind of cost escalated contract is this? Right, 100% increase over few years. Right, from 2002 to 2007. It's ridiculous, right? Okay. The tender was awarded to the SNMT Telematics Consortium. You know what we mean by consortium? When a group of companies come together, right, to do a certain project, we call it a consortium. Does it make sense to you, right? Okay. Now, whose chairman, Tebuko, is it Tebuko or what do you call it? Magashua has received several government tenders. These people looks like sons of the tenderpreneurs. You know, there's a word these days you were calling tenderpreneurs. Those people that are making mischievous money from tenders. You know what I'm talking about. Right. The audit was done in the 2010 to 11 year at 50 schools across 5 districts. It found many problems, including inadequate security measures. These are the pitfalls. Content online, being offline every time. Inadequate support and maintenance of equipment. Inadequate training of users. Failure to replace stolen goods. Right. So these are some of the problems that the audit committee or the audit report has concluded. Then you have a failure to pay service provider on time. These are problems, right? The DA has called for the contract with SNMT to be terminated, saying the project was characterized by poor management and non-adherence to the service level agreement. DAMPL Kulme had said he was. What is NPA? Right? NPA. DAMPL. I don't know whether it's free. I would have to do this research on this and see what this one is talking about. Whether it's monetary planning. I will see what is NPA, right? Then he was concerned with the contract and the renewed again in December. The audit found that many of the problems lay with inadequate management of the project and the evaluation of the performance of the service provider was often lacking. In certain schools, there was no evidence that stolen equipment had been reported to the police. Right. The audit found that schools were offline for a long period of time, ranging from 2 months to 16 months. The audit states our visit to the 50 selected schools found that 8% of the laboratory were not fully furnished with the required equipment and facilities. Right. Part of the reason for not delivering was the late payment of the suppliers, SNMT, RMB, and the social consulting. There was underspending of 164.9 million on the project in 2010 to 2011. A year in which 400 million was assigned to Carlton Online, the audit firm. So you see, it was published. So you can find the full report by using that link. Right. The period is over. Okay. Okay. So we are going to stop here. Perhaps next week on Monday we are going to answer the question. Right? Okay.
face